And welcome back, everyone, to episode 129 of the Marvelite podcast. I am your host this week, Luke, and with me I have Will.
What's poppin', people? What's going on?
So we have we have some other speculative news.
We got
for anyone listening. Potential spoilers here.
It's a very
so there's two big
rumor-heavy
pieces
episode
really
today.
Of news / rumors that are circulating around the internet right now. This one comes from, I believe, 4chan, and this is about Spider-Man Homecoming 2. So, just in case these are true, which, to me, some of this sounds, legit, we're going to talk a little bit about this and kind of break it down. Spoilers ahead, potentially. Okay, so apparently with Spider-Man Homecoming 2, it's going to be set after Avengers 4. Peter is apparently revived, and it appears Tony Stark will indeed die, and Peter will be mourning his death. The plot revolved around something groundbreaking that Stark has created and which is stolen and Spider-Man must retrieve. So I'm kind of thinking at this point, because there's been a lot of speculation on the internet about what Tony's going to be doing in between Avengers 3 and 4. I think, honestly, it's well within the rights of the Marvel Universe. This hasn't necessarily happened in the 616 canon, but it doesn't say anywhere in the comics that this can't happen. What if... Now, this sounds like a big what if, and I think Comics Explained did a video on this, and I really like his video. You guys should go check it out. But he did a video on what if Tony creates another Infinity Stone or another Infinity Gauntlet.
Well, that's what the Avengers 4 rumor is about the Stark Gauntlet, because we talked about that weeks ago.
Yeah,
and as you were saying it, I was thinking, I'm like, what if it's probably the fucking Stark Gauntlet?
Yeah,
or the Siege Perilous or some shit like that.
I'm thinking that he creates some kind of weapon. Now, also, too, Avengers 4, there's time travel has pretty much all but been confirmed at this point. What if it's like a time travel machine? Or something like that.
That's why I say it could be the Siege Perilous, because that can travel between dimensions, too, and that seems like something that Mysterio might want to steal.
I'm thinking if the plot does revolve around a groundbreaking piece of technology, I'm thinking that whatever it is, Mysterio takes it or steals it.
Yeah.
Since Mysterio is kind of being rumored to be the villain here. So, but anyways, so it's set mainly in London, which is pretty interesting. Which I think Kevin Feige has already confirmed that it is filming in London. A lot of the film is not going to take place in New York City, like traditional Spider-Man movies. Well, I mean, hell, dude, a good majority of Homecoming took place in D.C.
Well, no, I'm just upset because it means they won't be filming in Atlanta, and I can't try to get on the set.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just salty about that.
Well, there are other Marvel films that are going to be filming in Atlanta at Pinewood. So
that's true.
So Peter and his friends are there for a conference sponsored by Stark Industries. MJ, Ned, Liz, Flash... and Aunt May are returning alongside the Midtown students and staff from Homecoming. Gwyneth Paltrow is also supposed to appear as Pepper Potts. Mysterio is the main villain. He is an international thief and a master illusionist, and the master of illusion, who has stolen Stark's creation at the behest of a mysterious employer. Blah blah blah. I'm thinking at this point the employer could probably be like Alistair Smythe. Or somebody from Oscorp.
Well, it would probably be Spencer, because Alistair's his kid, and we'll get to Alistair in a sec.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, where was I? Let's see here.
Mysterio.
Apparently there are plans to include the fishbowl helmet, but he will not wear it throughout the movie. So I think it'll probably just be a kind of nod to the comics, which I'm fine with.
They did the same thing with the Vulture.
Yeah.
So I trust Marvel in how they would handle Mysterio. I don't think they would omit that because that's such an iconic appearance. I think they can make it more menacing.
So here's where things really start getting a little screwy. Jessica Drew is set to appear as an MI6 operative pursuing Mysterio, who begrudgingly teams up with Spider-Man to stop him. She has no superpowers, but is a combat expert and a skilled tactician.
No powers yet.
Do you think that they might set her up to be Spider-Woman?
I'd be fine with that. It can, I can see them setting that up, because otherwise you kind of end up with a character who's basically Black Widow, and...
Do you think they'll kind of pull like a Wasp with her? Like, she won't get a suit or powers or anything in this movie, but in the next movie she might
I think she'll get an allusion to it, but I don't know if it'll be like a direct thing. Like she'll have her, like I said, she'll just end up being like a version of Black Cat mixed with Black Widow. So you have to give her something to make her stand out, other than being, oh, she's this badass super spy woman, but she's British.
Yeah. Okay, so to continue, Peter develops a rivalry with a new student, Alistair Smythe, a technology prodigy who's determined to upstage him. Smythe is manipulative and tries to turn Peter's friends against him. His father, Spencer Smythe, works for Stark Industries. And then it goes on here to the second page. Let's see. Vulture and Scorpion will appear in minor roles. Scorpion is apparently working for the same man who hired Mysterio to steal Stark's creation. And they attempt to get Vulture to betray Spider-Man's identity to them. Which, honestly, that kind of was set up at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming. Mm-hmm. Mysterio's employer is apparently a major villain from the comics and will be prominent in the Spider-Man movies going forward. So do you think that it's Norman Osborn? Yay or nay?
Norman is like the obvious answer. I know a lot of people said they wanted it to be Master Planner, which I think would be genius, honestly. I think that would work a little bit better, because I feel like Norman is a villain you could do long term. Like, you could have him appear outside of Spider-Man to kind of fill the hole that Tony Stark may leave. But
I don't know if Sony wants, like, Marvel Studios to use Norman Osborn.
Yeah, but, they do them better.
Yeah.
Granted, you can't beat Willem Dafoe, but, they can try.
Yeah. It definitely sounds like they are kind of setting up the Sinister Six really subtly here.
Yeah, I think Master Planner would work better for Sinister Six.
Yeah.
Norman Osborn is more if they wanted Norman Osborn, I think they would have set him up more in the first movie than try and shoehorn him in between, like, a second and third movie.
So apparently they have no word on who he is yet, but we will have a minor appearance in the movie. Marvel and Sony eyeing A-list actors. Casting won't be officially announced, supposed to be a surprise twist. Okay, well, that's interesting. What if it is William Dafoe?
Willem Dafoe, but is somebody else?
yeah, like William Dafoe is just like another bad guy. I would be okay with that.
He plays Cletus Cassidy.
Actually, that would be pretty dope.
Actually, wait, yeah. I think I might be on to something.
And it also goes on to say real quick that, yes, they are building up to the Sinister Six, but they have not guaranteed for a potential third movie in the series. The title so far is Spider-Man Field Trip.
Did you get that video I sent you where Tom Holland confirmed a year ago that there's going to be a third one?
Oh, yeah, and I'm pretty sure that he knows that. I mean, he's... everyone at Marvel and Disney kind of gets pissed at him because he just, like, spoils shit left and right.
Yeah, so and that was the thing, because we would talk about that all the time, like, outside of the show about it. And everyone kept telling me that it was only going to be 2 solo Spider-Man movies. I'm like, it's got to be 3. It's got to be 3. They would not do a trilogy. So I'm like, yeah. So I was right. But
so like. The only thing that I see a little out of place here is the whole Jessica Drew thing, but I don't know.
Honestly, the thing that bothers me the most about this is that the reliance on having Stark being connected to Peter this heavily is not just really derivative of the first movie, but it still kind of robs Peter. That's one of the issues I do have with it, is that it does rob a little bit of Peter as a character, and it kind of makes everything revolve around Stark in the MCU, and I kind of want them to get away from that, especially with his character specifically.
Well, yeah, like, he's been the cornerstone of the MCU for a decade.
So. Yeah, and I'm like, it's time to pull away from that, and I think Avengers 4 is a great starting place, and since this is supposed to be set, and it comes out after it, I'm like, this is the perfect place to start, with the perfect person. It's like, sure, you can have his, like, mental arc being like, I have to get past losing my mentor and learn to be on my own, but I don't think his villain should be connected to Stark. I think that should just be kind of independent of it.
Yeah.
Like, Mysterio can just steal some valuable technology. It doesn't have to be Stark technology. Honestly, that'd be a great way to introduce Norman Osborn, is to have it be from Oscorp. And have him steal some technology that was made by, like, Norman's people. But you don't find that out till the end. Like, you just hear that it's some valuable tech from some high-end businessman. And it, like, makes you think, it's like, who is it? Is it Tony? Is it Norman? Well, Tony's dead. Pepper shows up. Oh, it's got to be Tony. And that'd be, like, a nice switcheroo to have be actually Norman instead of Tony.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I don't know. A lot of this makes sense, and I kind of hope that they really stick to their guns in terms of characters. I know that they like to switch things up when it comes to certain character arcs from the comics. Also, anything from like aesthetics to the way they act. Because you have to remember too that this is partly still a Sony film, and so
yeah, it is.
that's like the unfortunate truth. I don't know, man. We're just gonna have to see where it goes. I mean, all this sounds pretty legit, and I'm pretty excited for Homecoming 2. If the leaks are legit, I can probably say without a doubt that I'm gonna like this movie a lot. So
there are a couple things I would change. I might change how they do Jessica a little bit. I don't mind her being an MI6 agent. That's fine, and if she doesn't have powers, that's fine too. It can be earlier in her career. I may not just make her British Black Widow, because we already have like British Black Widow with her herself. Then we have Space Black Widow with Gamora. So there needs to be something that makes her different other than she's MI6. So I kind of agree with you about her characterization. Before we go on, what do you think about the Smythe thing, the thing with Alistair?
That's a really, really big divergent from the comics.
Yeah, because the Smythes are like the whole Spider Slayer thing. I think is a really cool villain. I think if you have Alistair set up like as this kid genius who goes on to be a member of the Sinister Six, that'd be pretty ballsy, because Peter doesn't have villains really who are his age,
right?
At least in this version so far, but we've only seen him in like a couple movies. So I think that'd be really crazy to have a villain who is a teenager. We don't really get that, and the last time we got that was Deadpool, and I hated him. So,
right.
Maybe Disney will get him right. I hated Russell. I'm sorry, he sucked. But I don't know. Like, what's your takes on it? Spencer seems okay though.
I mean, again, they just change things, every now and again with certain characters. I mean, Alistair's honestly, he's not like a cornerstone villain, so I'm not like,
nah.
Yeah, so like I'm kind of okay with it, but it's like, man, still no word on like Harry, Norman. We don't get Oscorp. There's still no word on the Daily Bugle, J. Jonah Jameson. Like some of those characters, like a traditional Mary Jane. Like we still haven't seen like hardly any of that since the Sam Raimi Spider-Man stuff. So it's like, man, when are we going to start seeing like the really classic stuff come into play here?
It'd be really loony if they pushed MJ aside and decided to do Cindy Moon instead, because she's there. She's one of his classmates.
Yeah, I know. Well, but she can't have the same origin though, because she's there.
No,
she's a normal student.
But if they like give Mary Jane's role to Cindy Moon and they just don't give her the powers, she's just a regular girl.
Yeah, that would be really lame, actually.
That'd be kind of hilarious. I'd be like, wow, that's a way to cuck your fans.
Yeah.
They give her the red hair and everything. It's like, who are you? I'm Cindy Moon. I'm going to be a model and actress. It's like, don't you go to like a fucking magnet school?
Yeah.
What? You don't go to art school? What are you doing?